那边呢？
晚上好。
很好。
晚上好。
恭喜发财，马年大吉，马到成功。All these greetings to all of you. I hope many of you had a chance to have Chinese dumplings last night and celebrate with fireworks the farewell to the old year of the water snake and the entrance to the green wooden horse here. My Chinese name is Mei Yuan Mei. A name I was given by Mei Yingsheng, who Pamela met in Sichuan some years ago, whom I met in 1982 when I was first in China. So he and his wife, they adopted me as their 5th daughter and gave me the name Mei Yuan Mei, which means plum blossom in the plum tree garden. So I'm very honored that I was given this name by a Taiji master and a surgeon who has done a lot. These days, this little thing that we carry with us all around has brought I don't know how many hundreds of greetings from China to me in all manners. And the idea that in the course of just these last 10,000 days, or much more so like the last 3,000 days, more than 700 million Chinese are on the internet, are using this thing in connecting with each other and connecting with people around the world. That's telling us something about connections. And this is pretty remarkable. I'm on WeChat. It's an amazing social media. At least 350 million Chinese are on WeChat, where we can send pictures, we can talk so that friends can listen to the voice of greetings, send a video, or write a nice message. The Chinese are moving very, very fast in social media. That's why also in this field, the world is getting to look towards China. I thought I'd say a little bit just about the Year of the Horse for me, and a little bit about Norway and China. As a horse lover, and as a dog, speaking as a dog, born of the dog like Pamela, I don't know how many of you have a relationship to horses. Many girls have relationships to horses, we see especially here in Norway. But I think many of us have enjoyed looking at a horse. Much has been written about horses. The essential joy of being with horses is that it brings us in contact with the rare elements of grace, beauty, spirit, and fire. In the Quran, it writes about the horse being the wind condensed. Shakespeare writes, "When I bestride him, my horse, I soar like a hawk. My horse trots the air, and the earth sings when he touches it." ask me to show you poetry in motion, and I will show you a horse. It is as if a horse is always listening to music. Listening, I think, will be more and more a key word ahead of us. Instead of speaking, we need even more so to listen. And that's a challenge. I met Pamela on the streets outside the cathedral just 2 weeks ago. I was on my way going to the, almost on my way the next day, going up to northern Norway, to Tromsø, to take part in a conference called the Arctic Frontiers, about what is going on in the Arctic. And the Arctic is the focus of attention not just for Norwegians, but for people all around the world. It is a key focus for our foreign relations today. And the circumpolar north and the Arctic is the most visible place for climate change. It was very, very, very interesting, a whole week, with our Norwegian Prime Minister being there, the new female Prime Minister of Greenland being there, an Inuit, the Finnish Prime Minister being there, the Norwegian Minister of Health being there, the focus of the conference this year being people, humans in the Arctic. Representatives from United States State Department is there, from Korea, from China, from Japan, all of them there. We're talking about the top of the world, but it's a part of our world, which is impacting us all as we are facing change, big change. And this is where I come in with China. How come China is so interested there too? We have 3 poles in the world. The Arctic, the Antarctic, and the 3rd pole, Himalaya. And this has always interested me. Like China has always interested me. Not just from when I first went to China, and that was in 1981, 33 years ago. Maybe you haven't thought about this too much, but I have been doing a lot of counting. In 1981, that's 12,000 days ago, not more. But that's when, just at the beginning of the reform and opening of China. But my link with China starts even earlier, already in 1964, when I went to Malaysia and Singapore, where I grew up. So, with Chinese also there. China and Norway. This year, 2014, in the year of the green wood horse, we commemorate and we celebrate 60 years of diplomatic relations. That is 22,000 days ago. It's not more. A lot has happened in 22,000 days in our world. I was reading on about China and Chinese hopes and challenges for the year of the horse. The Xinhua news agency was also in the Arctic at the Arctic Frontiers Conference. So it says something about the significance of this place and what's going on. And in yesterday's Xinhua news, it writes about prospects for the year of the horse. And what is it called, the title? Clean air, clean minds. I think all of us have been reading about and in front pages on Norwegian media and world media talking about pollution, talking about, as they did in Chinese media, about these challenges, irrational development, unbalanced economic structure, gap between rich and poor. And they write, solutions require wisdom. Solutions require wisdom and determination. They write that in 2014, Year of the Horse, there will be new reforms to release the potential, the economic, the social, the ecological potential. China wants to move towards ecological civilization. These words are interesting. These words, they say, they represent, these times represent opportunities and risks. They're all about change. They're all about change. Facing climate change, facing behavioral change. When I think about China, I think a lot about change. I think about China as an agrarian society. When I came to China 33 years ago, a bit over 10,000 days ago, China had a population of 1 billion. 15% of that population lived in cities. 15, 1 5. In 30 years, in 10,000 days, in 2011, 50% of the population lived in cities. Change. By 2025, in another 3,000 days, the goal is for 70% of China's population to live in cities. We're talking about a tremendous shift in identity, a tremendous change in identity from connection to the soil to what connection? I think this is interesting and challenging. And the Chinese are wearing the shoes that hurt. And breathing that hurts. And drinking that worries. The Chinese, they know their problems. They know they are going to face air pollution, how to manage their waste, how to feel safe about water. So it's no wonder thinking about change comes easily in regard to China. After all, China is also the country that fostered the Book of Changes. But have you thought about this? The Book of Changes appears only about it's difficult, there's no book as such, one book. But we're talking, Confucius, we all think, oh, it's such a long, long time ago, 2,500 years ago. But that, 1 million days ago, it's only 1 million days ago. Do you think a million is a lot? I mean, it's very cheap. You can't buy an apartment in Oslo for 1 million kroner. It's only 1 million days ago. The Book of Changes is all about the dynamic balance of opposites. The evolution of events as a process and the acceptance of the inevitability of change. There will always be change. Life is a cycle of change. And we are all participants to this change, hopefully for the better well-being. Norway and China established diplomatic relations 22,000 days ago, in 1954. In 2004, I was at the embassy and we published this book, Norway and China, over the past 50 years. Norway and China has a long history, way beyond 1954. So, in 2014, we celebrate in Norway our constitution. But I don't think you've thought of that in China they're celebrating their constitution too. Because in 1954, China got its new constitution, socialist constitution. But ours, we're celebrating 200 for our old constitution and thinking about being a nation. When everybody in Norway thinks that there's not much happening between Norway and China in many ways, but a lot of things are happening. There were just now, last week, in China, in Beijing, do you know the Ibsen's The Doll's House? Was performed in the National Center for the Performing Arts. celebrating that it was 100 years since the first time it was shown or introduced in China. Only 100 years ago. So, China too is talking and thinking about the way forward. They're thinking about their legal reforms and how it depends on public participation. I've been lucky because I've been working with scientists who are working together to enhance the knowledge foundation for changes and for management of many issues in China. And this is exciting, and this is ongoing. All of this public participation for change is all about you and me. Instead of me speaking a lot more about things, if you have questions, I'd rather that you ask me. But I was thinking about some words that I have from Chinese about a lifetime. A lifetime of expectation in our part of the world is about 30,000 days. If you live to be 80, which is approximately here, it's only 30,000 days. So a saying goes, take 5 minutes at the beginning of every day, remembering we all want the same things: to be happy and to be loved. And the Chinese have another saying, if you want happiness for a lifetime, help someone else. And so I think that if I end just with a saying about a horse, or being a horse lover, a true horse lover, horseman or horsewoman, looks at his or her horse not with the eyes, but with the heart. So I hope we will listen well, like the horse, and live well with the heart. And if you have questions about, I found it difficult in the end to talk what I wanted to talk, so I wish you lots of good change in the year of the horse, and that it will be one with lots of love and lots of creative energy for create your own shining moments in the few days we have full of change. Thank you.